Great, greetings. We're gonna do a little bit of a news of the day kind of thing on here, and you know what? I'm gonna throw a hockey news of the day kind of thing right into the here as well. So, because it's not worthy of a video all in of its own on the hockey channel today, but it's gonna be news tomorrow. So here you go. I want to start off with the New York Jets. Owner Woody Johnson is being accused of racist and sexist statements. Now, I've read what he said, and is it offensive on an ignorant level? It's one of those things where it's kind of one of those passive things that somebody will say that you're like, oh, you probably shouldn't say that. You know, the interesting thing to me is always that I grew up and saw growing up, whether it was sometimes in my own family, sometimes my friends' families, just the casual racist and sexist comments you would hear, that even as a kid I'd go, that's not right. But again, it was just commonplace. A lot of the things that Woody Johnson's being accused of said, I could totally have seen family members of mine saying. I could still see certain people that I know saying the exact same things. And I don't think there's enough there to take him down as an owner. The way it was being pulled out was, that he needs to go as an owner. If this is going to be the bar, yeah, there's going to be some big time house cleaning with NFL ownership, I would think, and just management types. Tara Sloan tweeted out, I think it was 2 days ago now. She said, "Are we done then talking about the sexual harassment that women deal with in the sporting world?" And she said that at some point she was propositioned by somebody who was in an NHL organization, and basically she was told, "Hey, if you come home with me, I will give you don't hiss at each other. Stop. That basically if he went home with her, that he would give her information on prospects in the organization, something along those lines." And she said it happens all the time. So again, and that's not even football. That's hockey. So the sporting world is seemingly in for some potential change here, and so we'll see how that goes. Sort of like how I got three cats here. They're fighting, and you got the fourth over here. Knock it off. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. I'll move that. Come over here. Dear Lord. Anyways, I would restart the video, but I know they're just going to keep going. All four cats are in this room, so that usually lends itself to some growling and unpleasantness. The only problem is Shadow and Bear aren't getting along right now either. They have their moments. So, come here, Bear. Come on, I'll carry you down. There you go. There you go. How'd you go? All right. The CFL is still discussing with the federal government how they're going to make this work. The federal government not really wanting to give them money right now. And I get it. They're already paying out a ton in CERB payments. They're already paying out a ton in rental agreements and all this, and trying to make sure people don't end up out on the street and don't end up broke in Canada. And so a professional league coming along, they're probably thinking, we'd rather not. The optics look bad. And of course, the Canadian government has its own bad optics going on right now, which likely don't help either. So as we get into another scandal in Canada, I think they're just trying to avoid the optics of giving $42 million. Apparently, is how much the CFL was looking for. They don't want to hand over $42 million while they're already being accused of giving money out that they shouldn't, and contracts being awarded that they shouldn't be. And yeah, it's ugly. I would think by U.S. standards it's minor, but by Canadian standards it's pretty big scandal. And so I think the CFL's kind of caught in the crosshairs there. I think it's just they've got enough issues going on. The Jays, speaking of Canadian issues, the Jays have been denied Pittsburgh's PNC Park. Thanks for your interest. Nope. So the Blue Jays don't have a home, and isn't opening pitch thrown tomorrow night? Like, aren't we up to like baseball starting and the team doesn't have a home? So come out and play in Vancouver. Oh wait, they can't, because of course they were denied by the federal government. And so Major League Baseball has a team that doesn't technically have a home right now. I don't know. Send them to Puerto Rico. I don't. What do you do? I mean, this is a setup that really Major League Baseball should have been negotiating this before it came back. Look at how the NHL did it. The NHL went to the Canadian government and negotiated everything. This was all straightened out, and then they announced hub cities. Major League Baseball, they have a homeless team with hours before opening pitch. Anyways, I also want to discuss some entertainment news because this is entertainment and TV and all that, right? So it's TV and sports. The Mortal Kombat reboot, apparently there's a reboot. Now, here's the thing. Apparently it's very violent, which means it's very authentic to the original video game. And Louis Tan, an actor in the movie, and he hasn't revealed which character he's going to be yet, he said that seeing some of those kills made him sick. Some of those fatalities made him sick. And I hear that and I think, okay, well, that works because the original movie was really violent, but is it going to be one of these really dark, violent movies that just doesn't click with an audience? And is an R-rated Mortal Kombat movie going to work? See, I'm not a huge fan of the idea of just doing PG-13 movies to get teenagers to watch, but when it's a video game movie, it's probably pretty smart to make it a PG-rated movie to get the kids to watch. Because, again, if it's just really violent and really dark, I think financially that's a mistake. You're probably not going to get your investment back. And just from an enjoyment perspective, I don't know. I kind of like that in the Mortal Kombat movie. Yeah, they get killed, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And the original Mortal Kombat movie, I've always enjoyed. I've watched it dozens of times. It is this campy. Is it crappy? On some level, yes. Goro is, by today's standards, the CGI for Goro, even back then, they were terrible. Goro, you can't get Goro right with the CGI technology we had back then, and yet they still gave it a shot, and it just fails. But, Johnny is so cheesy and over the top, and even though Christopher Lambert can't be Raiden, right? So, and while we're talking about all this stuff, like, oh, you can't play outside your race, well, there's Christopher Lambert as Raiden, but Christopher Lambert's such a delight, you kind of forgive it a little bit. While somewhere there are other actors who are Asian going, probably would have made a better Raiden, but it's fine. It's weird, but I guess it's fine. And of course, there were the campy performances by Shang Tsung was very campy, and of course, Sonya Blade in that movie was fantastic. Not that any of the acting was very good. It's it's weird, and of course, Shang Tsung finish him. I still to this day I'm like, yeah, they got Shang Tsung right, nailed it. Speaking of nailed it, and yeah, that's an intentional segue. I apologize. You guys can let me know how you felt about the bad segue by emailing. It really doesn't matter. It's not a big deal at thanks.gov. So nailed it. I found out his works in any language. So Yvonne watches the American version with the kids, and there's seasons they haven't watched yet. So I don't want to tread on episodes that she wants to watch with the kids. So we watched the holiday one, and then I thought, well, all right, well, we'll try one in a foreign language. And so I started up the German version. It's funny. It is really, really funny. And it works in any language. It turns out cooking badly, doesn't matter what language it's in, where you're like, what are they? Oh, that's not right. When you've got somebody basically mixing what's essentially turning into cement, and then they just decide, I'm going to pour some water in there. It's like, that's not in any instruction anywhere. And then it just turns to soup, and they're spraying it all over the place. It's just, man, that's fantastic. That's just, yeah, that's, and it does give ideas. Like we watched, we've been watching cooking shows a lot, and it's given Yvonne and I different ideas for really cool ways to make things. So yeah, I mean, there's that. But yeah, it works in any language. If you haven't tried it in other languages, it's actually kind of funnier. And the German version, they do swear. There's some swearing when I'm reading the subtitles. I'm like, hey. Now, the one thing I complain about, and I know this is a default with Netflix, if a movie's in another language or a TV show's in another language, I don't need to hear a dub of English over top. I don't. It's distracting. I have always hated dubbing over top. Always hated it going back to, Japanese and movies when I was a kid. The old karate movies. You know what I'm talking about here. And it's just distracting because you'd have like one guy and one girl doing the voices of everybody. And it's just they're not even trying to do other voices, and you're like, I don't know what's going on here because it's the same voice talking to the same voice, and I don't know. His mouth's still moving, so it defaults to the dub and the subtitles. So I had to go over. I'm like, no, I want the German audio, and then the subtitles on the bottom. Subtitles don't bother me. Never have. I've always thought subtitles are fine. I can read. It's not a big deal. It's fine. And not only that, but I've always found that subtitles, they can help you learn another language too. Where you're like, okay, I've heard that word 3 times and seen it on the screen 3 times, so that must be what that is. And with German, I listen to a lot of Rammstein, so I know. I'm going to say that of the languages I know French probably the most. I know I joke around about it in live streams and bugger it up on purpose. Spanish would be second, and German probably third, although Spanish and German are close. And of course, I bugger up English all the time too. Only names though, and teams, which teams players play for. So yeah, if you're a fan of Nailed It at all, or just what I like with it is right now that everything's so alarmist all over television. And I was trying to watch Dead to Me, and I haven't finished the season 2 yet because it's just really dark and it's not funny anymore. It was really funny the first season, and the second season is just really, really heavy. I don't need that before I go to sleep. So a silly show like Nailed It for half an hour works. And if you haven't seen it, I'll just do a quick synopsis. It's just that these people are brought in. They know they're bad cooks. Everybody knows they're bad cooks. And there's 3 people that compete. They're given 2 different challenges. And they're basically handed, here's what we want you to make. Here's what it should look like. A lot of the times the ingredients are already thrown together. They don't have to do a lot of work, but they have to show some creativity and an ability to follow instructions. And Nailed It is the idea of who got closest to what we wanted. And sometimes it is hysterically bad. Hysterically bad how far off they are and how terrible they are. And yeah, that can be really, really entertaining to watch. So there you go. And then at the end, the winner gets, on the American version, it's $10,000 American. On the European version I'm watching out of Germany, it's 5,000 euros, which is not too far off from $10,000 American when you remember, on the American version, half your money goes to the IRS as soon as you win it. Now, hockey. I saved it for last. Because I was like, I want to talk about this a little bit and just make a prediction. So Seattle's NHL team's going to be named tomorrow. They released a video on Twitter teasing that they're going to name their team, and it's a fishing boat that draws in its net, and in the net there's a goal light, and the goal light turns on and starts spinning, and then you hear a horn go off from a ferry. So I guess it's going to be a goal horn like that. Then I'm guessing that's a preview of their goal horn, and the fact that it's very maritime-y, very that's not the word I'm looking for. Maritime since back east, but it's a very sea-filled preview. It's got to be Kraken, right? It could be Sockeye. It could be Sockeyes. You don't have to pluralize it with an S. That's why I said it both ways. Could be, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be Kraken. So the guy and I guess it's his daughter on the boat. Tomorrow we'll see the team name revealed and the Kraken will come up and eat him. Blood everywhere, and Seattle's going to go, this was a horrible way to reveal this. Who thought this video would be okay? And then it'll be the guy that made the Mortal Kombat reboot. It'll be a way to Mortal Kombat, Seattle Kraken. But I honestly, all kidding aside, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be fine. And I think it's the kind of, I think the timing's kind of perfect because the NHL is coming back on August 1st. So timing really is kind of perfect. They've got to do it. They've been teasing it, honestly, since the announcement was made. They were getting an NHL team, I believe it was November of 2018. It's been a while that we've been talking about Seattle coming in. Because I was having meetups last summer. Because I was like, hey, we're going to have a meetup in Seattle because Seattle's going to have an NHL team in a couple of years. So it had been revealed a while before that. Because I know we had a meetup in Seattle the summer before that. And there were rumblings about whether or not Seattle would be the next team to come in after Vegas. So, yeah. It's finally time. It's finally going to happen. Hope they get the traffic straightened out between now and then. And, yeah, we'll see how that works out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you want to predict the Seattle team name, you can. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And yeah, I'm wearing a Titans jersey because whatever. And I've got the Cthulhu hat on because I'm thinking it'll be Kraken. And of course, I'm talking NFL at the top. So I thought I'll throw on my Titans jersey. Sure. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Hit like and subscribe as I always say. And I will talk to you again soon.